You mentioned the Buccaneers offense, and I'll pivot to the other thing that the NFL loves to promote to get people engaged in the game, and that's fantasy football. The Bucs are a fantasy football nightmare because you never know which guy is going to get the targets, the catches, the yards, the touchdowns. Last night, it was an Antonio Brown night, and he had 93 yards
and
on,
Leonard Fournette.
I believe it was 9 catches, and you flip it over for Fournette, right, 81 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns, and another 46 receiving. Last night was Fournette and Brown and O.J. Howard with 49 yards and a touchdown. Mike Evans, 2 catches for 27 yards. Chris Godwin, 5 for 43. So you never know any given week which guy is going to emerge. And I think a lot of it is probably dictated by the defense too, Peter, because if they're trying to take one guy away, well, the other guy's going to be open. And when you have that many weapons, you pivot to the other guy.
Brady's throwing to the open guy. He doesn't care. He didn't just see that graphic. And if he did see it, he doesn't care. And I think the one thing, and I remember this vividly, 14 months ago, being at Bucs training camp for 2 days, what did 3 different players on the offense tell me? 3? That Brady had told all of them, listen, don't worry about who's getting the ball. Forget stats, forget numbers, and I'm paraphrasing. But all of those guys, especially guys like Cameron Brate, whose workload was going to go down. It just was. They had to be on board, and they were on board from the beginning, because when you have Tom Brady as your quarterback and he's telling you just do what I say and we'll be fine, then you absolutely know that there could be any given week a diminution of your numbers because he's throwing to the open guy. And Mike, one other thing. Really, really happy just personally for O.J. Howard last night. I spent some time with him in camp last year. He was so excited. Brady was personally coaching him every day in practice. And then he gets the injury. He's out for the year. And now look at him last night. The Bucs were always convinced that what you saw last night is what O.J. Howard could be. He never showed that before Tom Brady showed up. And last night, you saw O.J. Howard being a huge factor on a winning team.
Slow start to the season as he continued to recover from the torn Achilles that he suffered last year right around this time. And Rob Gronkowski was healthy. That's the other thing that's sneaky impressive about what the Bucs have done. Gronk goes out after the loss to the Rams. They don't have him for the New England game, no problem, although that game wouldn't have been as close if Gronk had played. But they're 3-0 now without Gronkowski, who supposedly was fairly close to playing in this one. Now they get the mini-bye before they play the Bears. If he was close to playing in this one, barring some sort of a setback, he should be ready to go when they play again against Chicago in 9 days.
Yeah, but if I'm Bruce Arians, if I'm Byron Leftwich, the one thing I'm doing is saying, not that this game against the Bears doesn't matter. Of course it matters. They all matter. But how many teams in the NFL right now, Mike, would drool at the thought of having a tight end depth chart of O.J. Howard and Cameron Brate? That would be one of the best tight end depth charts in the league, certainly top 10. And that doesn't even include one of the top 100 football players in the history of the game, Rob Gronkowski. So, take it slow with Gronk. It's like I saw Richard Sherman go out last night. That's at a horrible position, a position of huge need. But listen, Richard Sherman should be on this team for what he can do, after December 1, not right now, because he does have an expiration date on him. I'm not sure that Gronk does. I just think Gronk got hit really bad, hurt his ribs, broke ribs. But I'll tell you, I would be giving guys maximum amount of time to come back and play, because they're just going to need those guys when the games really matter.
Yeah, Sherman had a hamstring injury, and who knows how long it'll take for him to return from that. We saw Christian McCaffrey have his hamstring injury 3 weeks ago on a Thursday night, and he didn't practice at all yesterday. And Those just take time to heal, and they are susceptible to aggravation and setback, and then you need even more time to get it ready to go. Leonard Fournette, you mentioned him earlier. Let's hear both from Tom Brady and Bruce Arians about that 2-touchdown performance from Leonard Fournette, who became, at least for one night, the clear top option in the Buccaneers backfield.
He's a great back. I mean, he's big, tough, catches it, runs, blocks, does everything for us. So great to have him in there. Obviously, when he's rolling, it's tough to stop us.
Yeah, Lenny's been really, really good. A solid run and pass protection. He's playing as a really good 3-down back right now at a high level.
Yeah, and you know, this is one of the guys that became a free agent, could have gone anywhere. And the Buccaneers really did benefit, Peter, from the pandemic-fueled dip in the salary cap. Because usually when you have a championship team with that many free agents, the other teams will come and raid it specifically to knock it down. This year, teams had enough of their own crap to worry about, and they didn't have the luxury to go raid the Buccaneers. Advantage Buccaneers.
Not only that, Mike, but when you think about Leonard Fournette, what is so interesting about him is that if you look at the 2019 season in Jacksonville, this guy had 1,674 total yards, scrimmage yards, in 15 games. That is a productive running back. And yet the next year, end of August, they're trying to trade him. They would have taken a 6 for him, Mike. They couldn't get anything for Leonard Fournette, and they cut him. And this, at this time, you know, everybody said, hey, you know what? The Bucs are in good shape right now with Ronald Jones. We don't really know about the attitude of Leonard Fournette. You know, not sure how he's going to handle being a role player, all that stuff. And he came in and he got in line, and you saw him last night. Incredibly productive. This is 3 straight 100 total yard games in this offense. He's hugely important to what they do. In fact, Mike, think about this right now. If you had a choice of playing a game, if you're Bruce Arians, Byron Leftwich, right now, today, and somebody said, okay, you can play next week's game either with Mike Evans or with Leonard Fournette, but not both, which one would you choose? That's a tough call. That's a really, really tough call. And I bet they would say, oh, we gotta have Fournette. You know, we got to have Fournette. So the only reason I say it's a tough call is because Mike Evans in any game can give you 170 and 2 touchdowns. But last night we saw the every down value of Leonard Fournette.
Yeah, absolutely. And the problem for Evans in that analysis is you've got Chris Godwin, you've got Antonio Brown, you've got Tyler Johnson. Right. You don't currently have Scotty Miller, and you have the tight ends to supplement as well. It's either Fournette or Ronald Jones, and Jones has kind of been hovering in that doghouse territory. Remember, he had the fumble in the opening game against the Cowboys, and then they didn't put him back in the game after that. They didn't think he was mentally ready to play, and so Fournette has kind of emerged as the guy that they can rely on, and it's all about holding on to the football and producing when you get the opportunity. And last night he clearly did. And Fournette having a good year, the Bucs having a great year, and we'll see where it goes from here.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.